What is going on, guys? This is Cutie Paintball, and today we're going to be taking a look at the HK Army 0G harness and Valken's strapless pod pack. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to be doing a quick comparison between these two pod packs here. This one by Valken was graciously sent to me by one of you guys, a subscriber, Nick. Thank you very much. And I know it's been far too long since when you actually gave me this, but I was definitely able to put the pack through its paces. All right, so let's get into it. First off, we're going to talk about quality. With HK's 0G pack, you'll find that it is a much more premium feeling product, which is kind of funny to say given HK's track record with their soft goods, or I guess from my personal experience and from what I've read from other people's experience, they're not great. Their soft goods have a tendency to rip. Their seams aren't the most reinforced. There's always kind of fraying that's happening with their threading. They could be better. Their zippers also suck when it comes to their cases. But one thing that actually sets this 0G harness apart from the rest of their products is that it's really well made. I've had this harness for about 3 years now, and it has held up fantastic. You can just tell that everything just fits together pretty well, or very well. It's nice and rigid, it feels solid, and it definitely has some other features that kind of give it that more luxurious feel to it. When you can compare it to a bunch of the more recent pod packs, which are kind of similar to the Valken pod packs, which are the completely strapless pod packs, which have no adjustability in terms of pod tension and such. They're very minimalist, and you kind of feel that with this pod pack as well. The materials are a little bit thinner. The Velcro doesn't feel like doesn't feel as strong as what I found on the HK Armies, and the depth of the strap, the amount of surface area isn't quite the same. And I've noticed that there's a tad bit of curling that's starting to happen around the straps. So when you're kind of cinching them on, the fitment isn't quite as nice. Now, granted, I am a smaller guy, but it is something that I've noticed. Features of the two pod packs, the HK Army and the Valken, these are both 4+7 pod packs. So you can carry up to 11 total, which is ridiculous. I've never done that. The most I've carried onto the field is 6, which is nothing compared to I know how a lot of people like to play now. Again, with the HK pod pack, you have these adjustable straps, which can really help vary the tension and allow it to accept a variety of different pod sizes. And I think it's really important when you consider the way people play these days. You got fast sprinting, jumping and diving and such like that. You don't want your pods falling out and dumping everywhere. I mean, paint's expensive. So having that option is a fantastic option. What you'll also find is a large cushion for the lumbar support. I've kind of mixed feelings about that, which I'll kind of get into later. But it does make the pod pack nice and comfortable on your back when you're just kind of just standing around, as I like to wear my pod pack all day in between points. I really don't find that there's any issue doing that with this. The Valken pod pack, its features are pretty minimal. The padding is pretty light. You have this ability to tuck away the extra straps behind the main portion of the harness, or the main back of the harness, just so they're out of the way and won't get tangled up when you're kind of searching for your pod. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's minimalist, and I think that's what kind of gives it an advantage in some ways over HK's product. So I'm going to talk about one of the major differences between these two. The Valken pod pack comes in at 0.9 pounds. the HK's product comes in at 2.2 pounds. Now that's not significant, I mean, besides double the weight, but it does kind of add up. And given how that cushion functions on the back of the 0G pack, it can exaggerate the amount of weight that it feels like you have on your back when you're running. As what that cushion does, even when you cinch it on as tight as possible, it pushes that center of gravity further away from your back. So you definitely feel a lot of the pods kind of bouncing around when you're running. With the minimal padding that's available on the Valken, you can get that nice and close to your body, kind of similar to the carbon packs where you can kind of keep them close to your core. So when you're running, you don't feel that same feeling of weight bouncing around your waist. So going back to the minimal adjustments or lack of adjustments that you can make to the Valken, when I first purchased it, I actually did find that it was very difficult to get pods into the pod pack. What I ended up having to do, with suggestions also from Nick, was allowing pods to sit overnight in the pack while also putting water on the pack. What that did was allow the fabric and the material to help stretch out around the pods, and it significantly made it easier to pull out the pods during a match. So what's my conclusion between these two, and what would I recommend? I don't think you can really go wrong with either. I think you just have to be aware of what makes them different from each other and possibly what you kind of want out of it. Like I said, being able to put pods back into the pack is kind of an important thing for me, so I like the HK Army. If I'm moving around a lot though, I have to pick the Valken pod pack because the weight feels less substantial when it's closer to your body. But that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I will be giving away the Valken pod pack, so please stick around, and one of my future videos I'll be announcing how you guys can win the pod pack. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.